What does the Saints film room reveal about the New Orleans Saints 26-14 loss to Chicago Bears in NFL Week 7 action? A little bit of good, quite a lot of bad, and way too much ugly. I'm Tim. Let's talk Saints. So, in the rundown sheet, you can kind of see a loose breakup of good, bad, and ugly as we get in the film review. So, just kind of briefly what I'm thinking here, or what I was seeing, or how I'm trying to put this together to make some semblance of a game that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense in a lot of ways. The good, like you're basically talking. The only thing I could really consistently find was in the passing game. Oddly enough, our passing game wasn't that bad. If you look at them, but you can't. It's a game, and I understand that. But just looking at individual plays, we probably had more good plays than bad and ugly. Problem is, your bad plays were enough, and your ugly plays were ugly enough that you're not really thinking about it. When I did the video Sunday afternoon after the game, I'll try to remember to put it up here. It'll be on the end card for sure. Kind of lost sight of that, but that's when you're kind of in the heat of the moment and you take a step back, go watch some film and go, hey, that was a good play. They did some nice things here. Just not a lot of opportunity to do that in this game. But when you could do it, and I pulled both touchdown passes were prime examples. But also in the pass defense, same thing. It wasn't anything overly egregious. We didn't have any huge, horrible, ugly, terrible plays. And you made one sensational one in Quincy Riley's interception, first ever in his career for the rookie. I don't even know if I mentioned that in the video on Sunday because it gets lost in the shuffle. And you did give up some plays in the passing game, converted some third downs, or they got a 10 pluser out of it or whatever. But overall, none of that had very little to do with why you lost the game. Why you lost the game is there were some bad in look, some bad blocks, some bad play calls, some bad decisions, all pop up in the passing game. Not a lot, but enough that it stalled some drives or stymied your offense, especially in the first half. Where the real problems come in the bad in the passing game was when you look individually at the turnovers, each one individually is a bad play, obviously. Cumulatively, the turnovers become ugly because you gave it away four times. Three of them, I'm going to say he's directly on Rattler. The fumble and the first two interceptions, because we break down all three. The third one, I'm going to be honest with you, that has as much to do with coaching, along with some other coaching issues that while you can't absolve the players, I am not doing that. But you can understand how they weren't put in a good position and possibly were put in a bad position by what was schemed, called, drawn up, whatever. But everybody can take ownership in. We couldn't run the ball and we couldn't stop the run. There's your real difference in the game, especially when you start looking at film and going, we got physically beat, we got mentally beat at times, just doing the wrong thing at the wrong time with no reasonable explanation of why. And then again, in some of those play calls, both on defense, especially on offense, and I pulled two of them up to look at, going, what were you even thinking? Did you draw that up back in New Orleans? Because if that's what you were bringing on the plane with you going into Chicago, we had lost this game before we left the airport. I really feel like that on some of this stuff. So there's enough in those turnovers in the actual execution on the field. There's enough to go around the players, but I think it needs to be brought up. Especially, I have more problems on offense and defense, but I have some issues on defense. But Kellen Moore, I really feel like this was his game where he wasn't good. He wasn't good at all. And being as that's the head coach slash mostly the offense coordinator, he calls the plays. But how much does that trickle down have when because players aren't stupid. They have to know when they're getting being put in when they're being put in bad positions during the course of a game and they can't get out of it. So I think this is a big one where the whole roster, Coaching staff, everybody owns this loss. So Rattler to Olave, it's 21-yard touchdown pass just outside the red zone. On second and 10, 27 seconds left in the first half. It's a good job all the way around on this one because they're sitting cover two. Olave's on the slot to the inside, so he's going to have to be one of those guys that's going to have to split that linebacker and safety combination right in the middle, try to get the ball in there because there will be space there. Linebacker reads it very well, and is coming over, and it's forced Rattler to kind of put a high pass up there. Make sure he gets it over the linebacker, but it's still in front of the safety. Kevin Byard snatched the ball out the air. Byard didn't light him up, but he did have to come down, survive a little contact there to hold on to the ball. Glad to see that he was able to do it. A throw that had to be made. That was about the only way he was going to get it in there is he had to drill that thing over the linebacker, going up there and say, hey, got to make a tough catch for us. He does it on this play. Now, this is the second Rattler to Olave touchdown. It's in the third quarter. We've just capped off a 5-minute, 13-second scoring drive that gets into the red zone on 3rd and 4. We go ahead and convert for a red zone touchdown, which is rare for us and nice when it happens. They're showing single high safety, just playing straight man here. This is stuff we knew we'd see from DA. And we've got a man beater. I think it's a pretty good design play here. Alvin staying in and helping out with any pressure that's coming in. Make sure we give Rattler a clean pocket and a chance for our receivers to operate and find some space. You've got a crosser between Olave and Juwan Johnson, and Olave's breaking out right now. Shaheed is the short man on the cross underneath. And so you got a little activity going on in there, and Olave's breaking out of it. Safety's figuring out what's going on, and so he's going to have to come over and get involved. And because of Shaheed crossing, that corner kind of steps up, ready to take him, creates that space down there. Because when you're playing single high with all this man, if you can get to the ball to the edges, I mean, you're making his job a lot harder. To space out to the edge, out to that corner. Rattler has picked it up, and I think he and Olave knew very early in this route that this was going to be there. As long as Olave didn't get hung up on the cross, rub, pick play, whatever you want to call it, in the middle of the field. Rattler throws a little high. Probably prefer that to be in his breadbasket, right? But again, Olave, we've been asking, hey, throws aren't going to always be perfect. That one wasn't, but it was good enough. You're going to have to climb the ladder. You're probably going to have to take another physical bit of contact here to survive the ground and hang on to the ball for the touchdown. And he does it. One of the good plays was Quincy Riley's interception. Happened in the first quarter. We've got him on a 3rd and 17. This is right after the snap. We rush forward. We're dropping back into coverage, and I think the coverage is kind of the look is kind of interesting because right here when you freeze it, top of the screen, it's almost some type of weird, and it's not weird. It's called split zone, where you zone one side of the field different from the other side because it almost looks like too high safety on that side, whereas at the bottom of the screen, more single high. It could be just a straight cover three, and they realize with multiple receivers, they have two receivers on that side plus a check down coming out the backfield right around the 30-yard line, and only one player to worry about on this side. It could have just Sanker and Riley rotated it more towards that hash, realizing that's where the ball is going to come in at. So not 100% clear which way it went, but I think ultimately what it did was Williams knew he had to get the ball to the 50 for the first down, and he was just looking at that outside receiver pretty much the whole time, hoping to hit him on his break in front of Riley, which the break is pretty good. And if the ball's on time and or on target, much like Rattler's first interception, you're probably going to pick up the first down here and get the ball on him, but it wasn't. And much like Chicago's cornerback on Rattler's first interception, Riley does a great job of realizing the throw coming in is a mistake and I can make a play on it. and making a play on it and grabbing the pick. So this is Rattler's first interception, second turnover of the game. This is in the second quarter. We're only down 6-0. They've just kicked the field goal. We get the ball back. Got a little something going here. Now they're going to show kind of a too high look. We put man in motion, recognize that's what it is. At the snap, they're simulating pressure. Right now, there's 7 guys around the line of scrimmage and only 4 defensive backs. But linebackers pop back out. And they're looking both towards the inside receivers. Kind of moving towards them. And that the space in cover 2 between the safeties and between the linebackers and the safeties really opens up here because you have no underneath player in the middle. It's just the 2 safeties back there. And we've got Tipton breaking into that space. And Rattler knows it and he sees it. And he's about ready to launch the ball right here. And he's got a lot of room to operate where that corner can't catch back up in the play. Your receiver catches it on time and on target. In this situation, you might have a chance to even have Tipton catch the ball and turn upfield, try to split those 2 safeties. Now, both those safeties are very good. They both break on the ball very well. So the odds of that are slim. But if you're going to throw the ball, and the ball's in the air right now, so it's too late to put it on him as he's coming out the break because he's already out the break, moving to space. So like we said, that ball needs to be out catchable in front of him, and it's behind him. Allows the cornerback, who Tipton had some space on, a step or two, just right back in the play, dives in there, makes the pick. It's a turnover, and it was a point in time where if you can keep this drive going and go get points, you're in a lot better shape than flipping the script right here with a turnover that ultimately leads to points for them. This is one that really, really bothers me because it's Rattler's second interception and kind of feels like we're not quite thinking about what's going on with the game. Is the best way I can put it because right here it's the third quarter. You have a 1st and 10. You scored on your first drive, get it to a 2014 ball game. Defense gave up a field goal, but you're not in too bad shape. You need to drive back down the field and get some points. Operating on this 1st and 10, going off a little play action. You got a single high safety back there, so they're going to be playing some man, and you're holding the linebackers right now. So you should have some ability to operate down the field. But they do a good job of picking everybody up. And right now, Rattler, he's looking to want to throw the ball here. He's got a very good pocket, not much pressure, but they've dropped off so much that doesn't really have a window to throw the ball. So he's stepping up now that the tackles have pushed the edge rushers outside, and we're still in pretty good shape right here. And he may have a check down if he wants it, but I don't mind him looking for the big play. It's just at some point you got to realize it's not quite there. And this is the point where I think I would rather see him on 1st and 10 at this point in midfield is probably just go ahead, take on that linebacker, see if you can get around him and get to the sideline and get some yardage. Too late now. He's going to throw the ball, so they've got him. Now he's got to throw it. It's looking deep, and he's waving deep. And as he's launching the ball, look, I understand Kevin Byard's all the way over here by the hash. But that is one of the best ball hawking safeties in football. There's a reason why he leads basically active players since he showed up in the league in interceptions because he does amazing stuff like this. So when you airmail that ball, and I get it, there was a chance for a completion right here, but in this situation, down 9, but you had some momentum. The last thing you want to do is a negative play, and you miss the throw. You overthrow it horribly, and Bayard's able to get over there and make the pick. This is the third and last interception. This was just, I find it bizarre. Um, you're down 26-14, 4 minutes, 29 seconds. So basically, you're entering 4-minute offense here, and you're down 2 scores. 4th and 2. kind of a line in a tight formation here, like you're going to try to run the ball, which you really haven't been able to do much in the second half. At really not much throughout the game. They're bunched up. They're playing it tight. Everybody's in the box, but that free safety back there, which is I believe Brisker, but Brisker or Byard, it really doesn't matter which one's back there at this point. Everything is jammed up. You don't really have anybody going out in the route except Valet, who's running some type of deep route on 4th and 2, almost like they're trying to clear it out. They are grabbing pass catchers every which way. And I think Valet was moving more towards a flag route in the end zone. And he's open if he turns around right here, but I think from the jump, this was going to be an attempt at maybe taking a shot over the top for some reason, or just to clear it out for Juwan and Alvin, who are right there in front of Rattler. But they're both tied up. Defense has done a great job of taking them out the play. There's linebackers back there spying on Rattler. He is not going to be able to run and do anything. So now he's trying to get a ball back across the field to either Stoll or Neal. And the linebackers are reading this, and they're already jumping, and they tip a ball and make a pick. And these are two very good active linebackers. And the way this play presented itself, we were letting both of them basically play a double spy role to do whatever they wanted to do, go over wherever they wanted to go in that kind of bunch formation. Because I don't think either one of them seriously thought for a second we were running the ball. They were looking for some type of rollout type play that we gave them, and they sat all over everything. So this one, I'm going to start with play design and play call with Kellen Moore before we ever get to where Rattler at that point is trying to pick up a first down, trying to force a throw in there. I don't know what would have been a better decision. He had nowhere to really throw the ball. Even if he could have made an easy throw to Neal, but there were bodies everywhere. I don't know if he picks up the yardage to get the first down anyway. He was behind the chains. Overall, I think this was just a fail from the moment they decided to call this play with no real chance to make it work. And I question more on this play start with Kellen Moore than the actual players. So the running game was very ugly. We couldn't run the ball. We couldn't stop them from running the ball. In fact, our defense gave up 10 plus yards on 9 running plays. You think, yeah, that's close to 100 yards. Actually, if you total it up, it was well over. And on this one, this is the very first running play they hand the ball off to, or the first running play that went for plus 10. They hand it off to Monagai, who gets a 14-yard run on 2nd and 12. This is in the first quarter. And it is a clinic on how to run the wide zone. They send a player in motion that pulls Alante Taylor. So we had an 8-man box. This is forcing us to move to a 7-man box. Even front, 2 linebackers in the game. We're playing with the extra defensive back on this one. Now, they're getting a great wide zone look right here where they're getting some combo blocks, but they are wanting, and Moose Johnson talked about this an awful lot during the game, where prior to the Commanders game, they were struggling getting off their initial blocks in the wide zone, where they're trying to get everybody moving left to right. In this case, they're getting us to move to our left and get to the second level where they could get explosive runs. Oh, they do it very, very well right here, and they did it very, very well all game long. All the way across the board. Granderson, Brzee, Godshaw, all getting to start off a combo, but there's going to be players, linemen and blockers coming off to get to the second level. They're turning Chase Young loose, and he's actually – this is one of those instances where the edge rusher does not always have edge contained. He's screaming in there towards the mesh point, and in a second you'll realize that the quarterback responsibility is actually Demario Davis. Now, Gottschall actually for a split second had Granderson had 3 blockers on him. That receiver gave him a little chip, and then is coming out to pick up Reed. The double team on Granderson is intact right now. Now, one of those guys will be coming off to the second level in just a bit. Brzee Same thing. They've pushed him out the way and creating some space. Lyman is going to come off to get to Werner. Godshaw's getting pushed out. Young's trying to have to chase the play down from behind. And at this point, DeMario he's caught in the wash because he's got Godshaw and two blockers in front. And what he's doing here is he's peeking back in to make sure he does not have to go grab that quarterback if the quarterback pulled the ball and rolled out. Very, very similar to the interception that Rattler threw in a very similar circumstance when he, on the scramble drill, tried to get Shaheed to go long and got picked by Byard on the overthrow. If you watch their linebacker on that play, he did a lot of the same things here, where if the quarterback pulls the ball or scrambles out, basically spying him, and I've got contained, the edge guy does not. He's either rushing the quarterback or he's doing what he's doing right now, trying to get to that mesh point for the running back or chasing him down from behind. So Gottschalk has now turned into a single block. His man's left to pick up DeMario. Warner's blocked. Brazil's completely out the play. They have him locked up. Reed has gotten a blocker on him with the second one coming out, so Reed and McKenzie are about ready to get blocked up. That leaves Sanker one-on-one with the running back, exploding through the hole. Monagai did a very good job of, in that wide zone, you find the space, whether you have to bend it outside, bounce it back to the inside, or just kind of put your head down and bang it through the middle of the line. It doesn't really matter. Find the space, gain at least 5 yards. But they had this blocked up so well. It's a one-on-one with Sanker, who comes up, makes a tackle, and basically, more than likely, saves a touchdown, at least for now. Now, we do end up holding him to a field goal on this drive, so that is a very important tackle by Sanker. We did not do a good job of getting off blocks. We did not do a good job of our defensive linemen holding those two gaps, those two blockers on the combos, holding them in there so they can't get out and start picking off linebackers and defensive backs on the second level. That's how you create problems. And it happened all day long. Now we're going to get DeAndre Swift on a 23-yard run. Fourth quarter, it's 1st and 10. They've got the lead. They've got the ball. They're basically just trying to burn clock and run this thing out. They're not necessarily setting up for the big plays, but the thing is, wide zone, if you hit the space right, you're going to get a big play. You're going to get the explosive play, and that's what they get here. Very similar to the other one. We send some motion, but this time we're not going with. Taylor staying home. We're keeping basically our 8 in the box. Our two safeties right on top. So this time we're not even taking any part of the eye candy. We're looking for a run, which makes this play even worse. So in this one, our linebackers are on run stop. If you notice, Young's not crashing in at the mesh point. He is taking more of a wide, contain the edge type movement. And he makes sure first that the quarterback doesn't have the ball before he comes back in. But it's a very similar situation. None of our down linemen are getting off blocks. They're locked up. They have allowed, for the most part, other blockers to come downfield, start getting to the second level and looking for linebackers and safeties. We kind of took away the wide portion of the wide zone, but he still gets the cutback right inside of Young, and Taylor, who's coming up in run support, gets picked up by the offensive lineman who's come off the initial block and getting to the second level. Now, they missed on Reed. So as Swift is moving away from Sanker's tackle, he runs right into Reed, who's able to pull him down and again save a touchdown. If Reed gets picked up right there, I don't know, or if he gets blocked like he did in the first play, I think this is a long touchdown run because I just don't know if Sanker is going to be able to save it on that one. And we're going to finish the ugly with 2 running plays where we got run stuff. Much like the 4th down play on Rattler's last interception, I feel like on both these plays, Kellen Moore, I don't know what he's doing, but it gets really ugly when your coach, offensive coordinator, play caller, scheming up just some stuff that does not make sense. This is one Daryl Moose Johnson talked about. So it's the Taysom Hill package with Rattler lined up wide and about ready to go in motion. And it's really right here on the offensive right. We're sliding down like it's wide zone. We've got Fawaga looking like he's pulling instead of maybe following some rules here where you make sure nobody crosses your face before you get out on the pull. Make sure you get a piece of them and pass him off to those guys coming behind you. Because there's no way this play could have been designed with Devon Vele having to come back and try to pick up that defensive edge player that nobody was lined up on initially. Vele's got no shot. I mean, he's running basically right by Fawaga. Nobody else is even looking like they should be sliding down and getting ready to block. They're all kind of making the turn to get out in front, which actually you've got a lot of blockers out in front and could turn it into a big play, except there was no way if this was designed for a block from Valet, there's no way any wide receiver's making that block to make this play. And I'm assuming the mistake was on Fawaga, but I don't know. The way he came out of there, like he had no responsibility right there on the line of scrimmage, that his job was to get out in front fast, kick the next player out to give the running lane. It was ugly no matter what the design was and who screwed up and who didn't. Talk about a play with no chance to work. 4th and 1, second quarter, about a minute 40 left to go. They've just scored to go to up 20 to nothing. We desperately need a score. I don't disagree with going forward on 4th and 1 right here. But we're trying to do it with 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and a running back on the field with Rattler. And we're all bunched up like we're going to try to power run out of this formation. Chicago decides just to put all 11 defenders in there with them. Right now, we're looking at the end zone view, not the all 22 sideline view. You should not, other than a goal line situation, see all 22 players basically within a 10-yard area. More or less what we see here. And Chicago could care less what we do on this play because we don't, 3 receivers out there, everybody bunched in this close. We're not going to be able to run the ball. And even if we're trying to throw it out of it, 3 receivers with everybody bunched up this close, none of them are going to be able to get through that mass of Chicago defenders to be able to get out in a route so Rattler can throw them the ball. And they just blow everything up. You're trying to push 2 guys with 4 linemen from Fuaga through the guards in the center, and they're getting nothing. Linebacker behind him is free. The receivers on the right and with Juwan Johnson not really involved in the play because we're trying to run this backside where we've got Cooks and Banks having to somehow block 3 players. Yeah, just not going to happen. Ugly. That's all I could say is I showed you 2 quick running plays on the ugly side. They were all very bad to ugly, but the operation of the offense was not good all day long. And there's a lot of blame to go around. But the more I watch film and see kind of some of the ridiculous stuff we did, like Kellen Moore has got to take a big, 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 big apology for this one on saying, I'm sorry, I did a lot of screwing up, really, before we even stepped out on the field and kicked this ball off. What we got for you today? It was brutal watching the film and cutting it up. And believe me, I did not see every play. There was just only so much I could take. And there was the up and downness of the game, and it was way more downs than up. And that was really the problem. Kind of knew. It's like it wasn't hard to go watch a string of plays and go, yeah, we know what went on here. hopefully we don't see it again. This is really what I would like to call a throwaway game. You just none of this is ever going to happen again, so we're just going to throw it away, forget about it, reset, move on, keep doing the things we were doing to get better, and keep fixing the problems that we have, and try to figure out exactly what we have and what we don't have on this roster heading into the next 3 weeks, because the next 3 weeks are going to be big. So, first time here, you like what you saw, please go ahead and give me that like, share, subscribe. YouTube's being a little ornery right now, so anything you can do to help, much, much appreciated. We'll see how this one turns out. We'll have somewhat of a Tampa Bay preview going into the end of the week, around Friday or Saturday. How that game's coming in. It's going to be a tough one. But I think a lot of the conversation is going to be young players. We two devastating injury news. Miller's done for the year. McCoy's done for the year. As of recording this on Tuesday, hadn't quite seen any corresponding roster moves, what they're going to do, but I expect they're going to start happening this week. And could be a big chunk of what the conversation is going to be about on Friday/Saturday show whenever we get the next one out. So that's what we got lined up for you. Please, before you go, like, share, subscribe, drop them down in the comments. Let me know what you think about the films. Let me know what you think about the upcoming Tampa Bay game too. So till I see you next time, I'm Tim. Peace out and who dat.